We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. Jimmy, James, and Tom are back for more. Like Joey B, we're here for season 4 with Bengal guests and stories not heard before. There's Tony, Mark, and Jamie, as well as our charity, Hooday Nation, joining in from far and wide. Every Tuesday night, the guys are back at it live. By the fans, for the fans, from day one, it's time to have some fun. We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. The Bengal boys stop by to drop the speed. Don't get your popcorn ready and take a seat. Season 4 will end with the Lombardi.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends. Back-to-back W's, beating Jacksonville on Monday night and just absolutely destroyed the Indianapolis Colts down at Paycor Stadium this past weekend. So a lot of stuff to get into tonight. We got Ken Anderson coming on here in a couple minutes. What a great guest to come on and talk about quarterbacking, backup quarterbacks, and how the starters can help through these situations when the starter's injured. So a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, guys.
Absolutely. Like that. We've got the perfect guest at the perfect time, and the Bengals are not just beating teams, but they're beating the hottest teams in the AFC. So, who cares about the percentages and everything else? The only game that matters is the next one, and let's win it, get in, as Jamie just said before we went on, get in, get hot, and go as far as we can.
Sorry for the hesitation, Jimmy. We were all in shock. Jamie was actually on for a night for the first time in like 4 weeks.
I just realized today that it's not on purpose, but I seem to come on only after a victory. So I promise you, I'm not a Fairweather fan. It's not on purpose.
Hey, James, did he sleep through the episode last week? I can't remember.
No,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I slept. Last week, I got stuck working the bar at my venue because my staffing issues.
That one meme that has like the all the different Browns quarterbacks that like goes all the way back down the back of the jersey. We're starting to compile that for Jamie and his list of excuses that he has every week.
Hey, I'm just happy to be missed.
Hey, and Marissa, she was upset that you weren't on, so she made me the new president. Just so you know.
Nobody was more upset than me. Trust me.
Yeah. We won't tell you what she said off air, man. So just we'll share that later. Tom, go ahead. Let's get started. We got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. We'll talk some charity stuff later. We got to talk about Tailgate and some other things we're doing here. But let's really hit the Bengals' magic number right now, guys. The Bengals 7-6. The magic number is 3. 3. They have a very high chance of getting in that playoffs. But let's introduce our guest tonight, Tom.
He is the Bengals' all-time greatest quarterback. He should be, and very soon we believe will be, enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. And he's perfect for us tonight. Hall of Fame quarterback, former NFL coach, and he still bleeds orange and black. So it's a privilege to have on Ken Anderson. Ken, welcome to Bengal Jim and Friends.
Well, thank you so much. You said the greatest Bengal quarterback of all time. That may be, Jake Browning now. I'm not really sure the way he's played the last couple of weeks. Hey, and let me tell you guys, you've really gone big time with that opening. You've got your own song now, and the video behind it. I am truly impressed how big this has gotten.
And Kenny, you're featured prominently in that video. But more importantly, Kenny, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, excuse me, Keystone Light. My beer of choice.
Dell's going to be upset whether you don't have a Kenny's Day drinking in front of you now.
Well, we can only sell that on draft now.
Yep.
We got a cease and desist order from the NFL for our can. I guess it was. I'm not really sure why, but they said the average consumer would assume that it's a Bengal endorsed product.
Yeah.
So no, but I still we've got it down at Dickman's. It's over at 16 lots, so I've got a lot of places I go and I drink it on tap.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Tom. Get us kicked off here, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Ken, like I said, you've got a unique perspective here. And while I know everybody else is going to pepper you with the quarterback questions, I'm going to ask you a question from your coaching days. When you've got a starter that goes down and your backup that comes in, everybody was talking about, well, Jake Browning needs a full week of practice. Jake Browning needs to learn this, that, or the other. But from a coaching standpoint, what do coaches do to adjust the game plan or their list, the list of plays that they can call? You know, how big of an adjustment is for the head coach, the coordinators, and the quarterback coach?
Well, I think communication is the big thing. You know, when you're talking about putting a game plan together, you try to, figure out what does he do best, what is he comfortable with. And I think the first game was always the toughest, which we saw, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, we always, the head coach and the play caller and the quarterback coach always went through with the quarterback late in the week. What do you like and what do you don't like? Well, I think the first game, Jake hadn't run a lot of the stuff. He didn't know what he didn't like and what he did like. They're a better feel for it after that. But what I really liked was the adjustments they started to make down in Jacksonville. He's under center more. We started to feature the run game more. And of course, Joe Mixon, started to come through in the Jacksonville game. And last game, still featured the run game. And now we had Chase Brown, who finally was healthy and came through with some big plays on the screen passes. So I think the coaching staff has done a nice job. I think, the communication with Jake as well, and, what do you feel more comfortable with, has really come a long way.
Yeah, Kenny, we talked about, I really don't think the coach is getting enough credit for what's happening right now with Jake Browning being in there and them on a little 2-game winning streak here. But is it such a thing that Joe Burrow, being there, can he actually help and get Jake where he needs to be and give him advice throughout the week and on game day?
Oh, no question about it. And what I really like is that he's on the sideline. I think there's another quarterback from the team up north that's not playing, and they had shots at him up in a private suite during the game. And, Joe's, down on the sideline, and, you watch him, he's got a headset on. He knows what's going on. He's got the pad in front of him. He's going over the plays. He's sitting right next to Jake and communicating with him. So, no, Joe has a great perspective on football and what he sees and what he anticipates, and that advice that he can give to Jake is invaluable.
In the comment section right now, AJ is saying the Browns' backup quarterback is getting massages, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But
that didn't come out of my mouth, Jim. Don't get me in trouble.
James?
Yeah, Kenny, thanks for coming on. And certainly it's a different NFL right now than when you played. We had an interesting comment from Solomon Wilcox a couple weeks ago when he was on the show. And he was wearing the safety glasses, as you can imagine, talking about the quarterback position. And he made the comment how much tougher it was for the defense to recognize what was happening when the quarterback was lined up under center versus what we see so much nowadays from the shotgun position. Can you comment on that and what a difference you see from your perspective when that quarterback lines up under center versus from the shotgun?
Well, I think number one, the running back is going downhill. He's got more momentum when he's going to the, to the line of scrimmage. So, you always like that. I think it's easier for the play action pass to come off that and throwing it down the field. And, sometimes when you've got that going on and, if you're in a one-back set, but you still got a tight end in the game, it almost becomes, a 7 or 8 man protection, which really firms things up for the quarterback as you get a chance to look down the field and make some big throws.
Tony?
Hey, Kenny, thanks for coming on. What's the feeling around the locker room? So we hear about the culture and how the team supports him and all that kind of stuff. How important is that for a quarterback to have that team behind you?
Well, I think it's extremely important. And I think, Jake has earned that, from what you hear in the media. He's been here a couple of years now, but what he's done to prepare himself, for this moment, he's always working. He comes in on his off day and meets with the defensive backs in their meeting room and kind of gets a quarterback perspective of what he's doing. Everything he's doing is how can I get better? How can I make the team better? And, he's taken advantage of this opportunity. and the team has confidence in him because they know how he prepares for this.
Tom?
Ken, going forward, and we don't want to get too forward, naturally, the whole mentality of one game at a time. But we've got the Vikings this week who, depending on reports, might be starting their third string quarterback. Then we've got a monstrous game in Pittsburgh going against a Steeler team that abused the Bengals offense and Jake Browning a few weeks ago. What adjustments will you see Jake doing? Can we leave everything pretty much the same in his experience from these last couple of weeks? Would that be enough, or do you think we have to toy some things and adjust to what the Steelers did to us?
Well, I think they got to adjust to what we're doing now. I was at that Steelers game. We didn't even try to run the football very much in that game. And I guess that was the disappointing thing for me, because with what the Steelers are going through on offense, you knew they weren't going to score very many points. And so, we have a chance to go ahead. You can run it, even though you may not be successful. You can go ahead and feature the run because, it's going to be a low-scoring game, and we didn't do that. So I think, our running game is going to make a big difference when we go up there. And, we've got that. And, of course, you got, Kansas City. We got Cleveland one more time. And, as my shirt says, why not us? It is us. That was kind of the mantra a couple of years ago. And, funny things can happen. I mean, Jake's on a hot streak. Is he the new Mark Purdy? He went to San Francisco and the starter gets hurt. He hadn't played much football. He was the last pick in the draft one year, one step from being a free agent. And all of a sudden he goes 13 in a row and doesn't lose, until he hurts his hand in the playoff game. So, let's see. We've got so many weapons on this team, on offense. The first game, we gave the ball to Jamar Chase a lot, down in Jacksonville. He had the big game. And last week it was kind of the screen game. So they're mixing it up, in what we're doing. But, we've got a lot of weapons. We've got a good offensive line. And last week the defense stepped up. So, that's all the kind of things that you got to have. And, that's this team's mantra, that it's the next guy up. Let's make the next play. And, they've done a good job of that the last 2 weeks.
Kenny, you play with a lot of great receivers, a lot of great running backs in your long career here in Cincinnati. Kind of draw some comparisons, if you're able to. Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase, the guy that you played with. Is there anybody you would compare them to? Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase.
Oh wow! I think Joe Mixon, a lot like Charlie Alexander. Was kind of the bigger back from LSU who had a good career with the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar, gosh, Isaac Curtis, in my opinion, is still the best the Bengals have ever had. I think Jamar may have something to say about that as he goes along. But I think, Jamar is a guy that's probably a better runner with the football on the short routes than maybe Isaac was. Although, gosh, I can remember on a 4th and 3 against Houston in Riverfront Stadium, I hit Isaac and he ran all the way through the defense and scored a touchdown to win us the game. So I guess I can't say that there. But, he's a little bit, stockier build than maybe Isaac was.
Gotcha. Tom?
Ken, jumping back into Bengals history, which is something I'd like to do. I had a great time the night we did the Riverfront Remember down at 16 Lots in Newport, talking with your old teammate, Bob Johnson. I think there's a guy that in an era where the NFL had a lot of great centers was really as good as any of them, and maybe suffered as you did from being in a smaller market, not being on TV as much and so forth. But we've heard a lot of, Bob Trumpy stories. We've heard a lot of Isaac Curtis stories, Chris Collinsworth stories. Could you tell us a little bit about the Bengals captain and the only guy to ever have his number retired?
Man, just smart, and Bob was, gosh, he went to Tennessee and, he always told the stories about when he was at Tennessee, they had their orange jerseys, but then they had their TV orange when they played. They were big time coming here. But no, I think the thing, about Bob is he was so athletic, and a little bit different nowadays. Bob probably played at 250, 255. Our guards may have been 260, our tackles 280. They were a lot smaller, but he was a real agile guy. And if you remember, he was a great long snapper. In those days with a 40-man roster, you didn't have a specialist that was a long snapper. It was your starting center. And Bob was one of the best at that.
Yeah. As everybody's watching right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, type in some questions. Jamie will try to get to a few of those here in a little bit for Kenny. But Jamie, you got something you want to fire away?
Yeah, I got some viewer questions queued up that are actually pretty good.
Yeah, shoot.
Before I get into those, I just want to say quickly, shout out to Chase Brown, proud Canadian. Cheering him on up here. All my friends up here, like when he scored a touchdown, I'm like, that guy's from London, Ontario. That's crazy. People didn't realize he's Canadian. Okay, Kenny, our viewers, some great questions. I'll throw this one for AJ first. Kenny, the line apparently is blocked better with the new style of offense. Do you think they should keep some of these schemes for next year with Joe Burrow under the helm?
Well, I think a lot is what is Joe Burrow more comfortable with? He likes the shotgun a lot. He likes the 5 out wide outs, where he can read coverages pretty well. But I think, the offensive line always likes that quarterback under center and the running back going downhill. They can come a little bit more aggressive. You talk to anybody. I mean, Dave Lapham, my old roommate for a lot of years, Anthony Munoz, they like when the offensive line can come off the ball and fire off the ball and be a little bit aggressive in the running game. So I hope they take notice of what they've done the last couple of weeks. At least keep it going for this year.
Craig's asking, could Jake, having been on the Vikings 2 seasons, help see weaknesses this weekend or help them know of weaknesses?
Probably not a lot, because when he was there, Mike Zimmer was the head coach.
Yeah,
different defensive schemes that are going in, different offense now that what they're doing. So that's probably not going to be a big help. Maybe some things with personnel, but not a lot as far as schemes are going.
This one's good here from Bob. Does Tanner Hudson's experience as a quarterback help him at the tight end position to be on the same page as Joe and now Jake? Obviously, hopefully extend them.
It never hurts, and it was nice to see, Tanner come in there and get his first, not only his first catch, but his first touchdown, in the NFL. And I think that shows the versatility of a lot of the Bengals players. We saw Drew Sample, lining up in the backfield as a blocker, on some of the pass plays now. So, these guys, Zach has made a tremendous effort to get, smart players in, guys that are leaders in, guys that football is important to them, that are held accountable to what they're doing. And, and I think that with all these guys that come in and he hasn't got a lot of playing time, and all of a sudden he makes a big difference last week.
Ken, I have a question. So you obviously being on a team, the Bengals seem to thrive when everyone counts them out. So when Burrow goes down, everyone just writes them off. Season's over. These guys come out obviously, and looks like they can go on a run here with the schedule coming up. How does a team gel in that situation when something happens and the outside noise is so loud, especially now in this day and age with social media and everyone's just negative all the time? How does a team come together and ignore all that to?
Well, the noise is loud on the outside. It's not loud on the in the locker room for those guys. They know how hard they work. They know the talent that's in that locker room. They know the things that they can accomplish. When they win, it's not a surprise. They prepare to win. And I think, it's easy to say they prepare to win, but they're willing to do the work to prepare to win, if that makes any sense. These guys spend a lot of time there. They practice extremely well. And I can't just say enough for the coaching job that Zach and his assistants have done, with the quality of the guys that they have in that locker room. And, as Paul Brown would always say, the game's not too big for them.
Kenny, so a couple quick things. So just kind of looking at this, as the progression of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Brown family, have they changed a lot of things in the organization over the years, right? You remember being at Spinney Field, right?
Yeah. That's why I still glow in the dark. There were some questions about the water down there. So that's why I don't turn off the lights for this, Jim, because I may be glowing. There was something with the creek down there next to Spinney Field.
Oh man, but to see what they have done today, at Paycor with the practice facilities with 3 natural grass fields out there, the indoor practice facility, it's fun to see. What does that mean to a player to have all that accessible?
Well, I mean, I think it shows in the free agents that we've signed. Number one, they want to come here to play with Joe Burrow. But when you come here, and we do have an indoor facility, we've got great practice facilities. They've got great locker room and meeting facilities. And that's important to players nowadays. It's
The amenities.
the money is always going to be the bottom line and the chance to win. But, I think the reputation of the Bengals being cheap and penny pitching is long gone.
I agree.
Hey, Kenny, I have a question. Going back to your coaching days, there's talk, hey, maybe too much is on Zach's plate, trying to do offensive coordinator duties in addition to being the head coach. In your time on the sideline as a coach, how much input does that quarterback coach have with the offensive coordinator? Does a running backs coach have with the offensive coordinator and the offensive line? And what's your thoughts on a head coach also wearing a coordinator hat, whether that's defensive or
let me
offensive?
correct you there. He's not the coordinator. He's the play caller.
Okay.
They've got a good coordinator, and this staff works, together to come up with a game plan, and Zach chooses to call the play. So a big difference between him being the coordinator and the play caller. Because, Brian Callahan does a fantastic job coordinating the offense, and they got a great bunch of offensive assistants. But there's a communication with all of them. And I think, when you look, obviously, it takes a little more time for the head coach to get ready for that. But I think when you look at Darren Simmons, the assistant head coach, and the special teams coordinator, that Zach's got the confidence to kind of, they meet during the week and what do you want to do and all this other stuff. But he's got total confidence in Darren's. And the same thing with Lou Anarumo. He's a veteran in this league and what he's doing. And they talk about, how do we want to attack this defense? What's your game plan going in? There's all that communication that goes on with those guys and the head coach. So it's, Zach gets a lot of heat, in some of the instances for his play calling, but I think he does a tremendous job in the play calling. I think the only thing that I got to text him, I may come in and work with Tyler Boyd on his throwing mechanics and see if I can improve those a little bit.
Along those lines, we hear of Dan Pitcher being a hot name, as moving up the ranks of the NFL coaching hierarchy. Can you comment on Dan and what you see from him as wearing that quarterback coach hat?
Well, I think he does a fantastic job with those guys. And, and he's lucky. He's got a room of guys that are really good. But I think, it goes back, Joe reminds me a little bit of Peyton Manning. They want to know everything, and then they can handle, a lot of things. And I remember Tom Moore, who was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator for most of his years with the Colts, and say, the quarterback coach has to be on his toes. I mean, he's got to have answers when these guys have questions. And luckily, the Bengals have a quarterback coach that can give those answers and make those guys better.
Hey, Jamie, if you could put Paul Blanton's question up there. I thought that's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Kenny, what was it like working with Phil Samp in the broadcast booth after you retired?
Oh, wow. What a treat. Phil was such a pro. I mean, he was with the Bengals, from the beginning, a guy that I just, loved being around. And man, did he have a great set of pipes. His voice was just outstanding. And he knew so much about the Bengals. And, I got to start a campaign. If anybody should be in the Bengals Ring of Honor, I think we should get a campaign going for Phil Samp.
Yeah. Love that. Hey, Kenny, so not a real serious question, but back in the day, this is a question I'm asking for a friend of mine who lives in Portsmouth, Ohio. Do you remember getting into Portsmouth at any time with some of your teammates and going to a place called the River?
Yeah. I've been there. I mean, I can't remember the specific spot or anything, But yeah, I know I've been to the Portsmouth. One thing, maybe it was for one of our Bengal basketball games in the off season.
That's exactly what it was. So the river, if nobody's ever been, it's the best prime steaks in the country on these giant grills outside. You walk in there are hundreds of pictures of old former Bengal players from the 70s and 80s and even 90s that are in there. And saw some pictures of you in there, Ken, about a month or so ago when we were in there. So it's kind of cool to see those old pics.
Well, I know if I was in there, the beer had to be cold.
Yep, no doubt, brother. No doubt. No doubt. We got a couple more minutes here with Ken. Let's fire away one or two more and we'll be done with you.
Okay. This one comes from John. With Joe having the Chiefs number and now with the Chiefs being a little rattled at 8-5, how do you think Jake's going to stack up against the Chiefs?
Well, I mean, we got a couple more weeks before they even think about that game. And then, you hear Ted Karras talk in the locker room about what's the scenarios, that for us, what do we have to do the rest of the season? He said, we don't care what the scenarios are. We're only worried about this week. And I think, these guys do a good job of compartmentalizing things. They're focused on one thing, and that's this. Well, now it's not Sunday. It's this Saturday, at 1:00 down at Paycor. And how can we beat the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, I think Zach said today something about having an extra drink before you go in. It shouldn't be a problem with this crowd.
Well, not if you go to Bengal Jim's tailgate. I can say that for sure. In fact, Jim, I think you got something going down now there, a toy drive, and if we can't make it down, unfortunately this week we're not going to be at the game. We have to go down to Lexington to my 5-year-old granddaughter's dance recital.
There you go.
So we won't be at the game, but if you can't be down there to donate, how can people make a donation?
Yeah, Tony, go ahead and give. We got an event going on. We're going to fill the bus up Sunday. We're going to meet down at. We're going to meet at a couple places and finish off at the Pro Shop for people to fill the Bengal bus up for Toys for Tots. But Tony, talk about we have a QR code for that as well, right?
Yeah, so we have several options. We have an Amazon wish list that you can go on and directly purchase from Amazon. It'll get sent to us directly. We have our tailgate, of course. It is the last tailgate to drop off your toys. And then, as Jim mentioned, we have a Fill the Bus event on Sunday, starting at the Walmart in Eastgate. We also will be spending, right now we got about $2,800 to $3,000 we're going to be spending in Walmart to buy some toys as well. So appreciate everybody's support with that. But yeah, there's multiple ways you can help with that.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough. Jim, what you've done to support the Ken Anderson Alliance and all the other charities with your tailgate, not only at home, but on the road. My gosh, I mean, you're the best, and we appreciate you so much.
Yeah, when you say you mean it's these guys, everybody on the screen, including Craig Johnson and Del Hall, who are not on the screen here with us tonight, work their ass off, Kenny, to make all this happen, man. And it's this platform of social media and our tailgate. If it wasn't for the tailgate and the social media platform, none of this stuff happens. So we appreciate everybody being involved.
This is actually a great segue while you're talking about this. Can I share the number we're at currently? I want to have it up while Kenny is on the air just to show.
Sure, do it.
This is insane, Kenny. Look at this.
Holy mackerel.
$236,000 to 28 different charities in 2023.
Great. You got, like I say, I can't thank you enough for the difference that you make in Cincinnati. Not only the difference for the Ken Anderson Alliance, but everything that you do for all the charities that you're involved with.
Yep. Well, Kenny, brother, we appreciate your time tonight. I'm sure we'll see you before Christmas, man. But if not, I hope that you and the family have a great Christmas. Enjoy the dance recital of the granddaughter, and safe travels up and down the expressway down there to Kentucky.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And like I say, thank you for putting me in the intro. I love the music. I love the video. So I feel honored now.
We love having you on, Kenny.
And keep posting those old videos on Twitter. I love watching those.
Every day, brother. Every day. So
the one that I just saw was with the Giants. We kept having those plays called back, but I had the best run of my career, about a 50-yarder, winding around, going to the right, winding around to the left, and scoring.
Got called back.
I used to be able to run a little bit of my day.
Hey, you know who doesn't like those videos? The NFL copyright department. They don't like those.
Well,
Kenny,
the NFL doesn't like anything. Keep it
Kenny,
going.
they're okay with it on Twitter, but for some reason on Facebook they get us.
They
man.
do
I don't
not
know.
like it on Facebook.
Oh gosh.
Ken
All
can.
right, we appreciate it, Kenny. Thanks again, buddy.
Well, any day when we get back to the playoffs this year, call me again, will you?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
You got it.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Kenny. Appreciate
Merry
it.
Christmas. There's
Oh,
James.
that's a big James
Hey.
there. All right.
Big
Woo.
James.
Oh, big James.
Kenny's
All right.
always fun, man. Very insightful. Every damn time we talk to him, man. I love it.
There was a question that came up in the chat. I didn't want to put up when Kenny was on because I really don't want to give it too much air. I love fandom, right? Like Jake
I
Brown.
deleted it. Don't even mention it. It's stupid. I deleted it.
jeez.
I gotta ask you though. Let me
Deleted it.
ask. Let me just ask.
No. It's an uninformed fan. Don't even talk about it. It's the dumbest thing ever.
At what
Anyhow, what do we got next?
point does
Can we talk about Tony's? Let's continue the charity talk. That's
this
just stupid talk.
this will be something?
Jamie, I can't believe you let him do that to you.
Well, it's fine. This will be something the fans can guess we're talking about. But
Yeah, there you go.
I'll tell you this. I don't believe it is, but I will tell you this. 5 games from now, it becomes a question.
It's stupid. I think I know what you're talking about. Good grief.
It becomes a question people
See?
ask.
Dumb.
It becomes a question.
Here, hold on. Tony, let's go. You're going full screen. All right, talk. Charity.
Just so you know, I just got beat down on my own show I co-host with you guys.
We can put you in the penalty box too, Jamie. We have that authority.
Just drink my Jack and Coke and shut up.
Hey, when you only come on once every 5 weeks, you lose that authority.
That's fair. That's fair.
This
Well,
is
Tony,
the beat up
Tony-
on Jamie.
Yeah, Tony. So we hit on the with Kenny. We hit on the Toys for Tots, but touch on that a little bit again and talk about what we did Sunday and what's going on this Saturday at the tailgate.
Yeah. So again, last weekend for our toy donation, and that's going to be this Saturday at the Vikings game. So make sure you bring a toy. All those toys are going to the great families in need. So appreciate everyone who does that. Again, real quick, just hit on the Fill the Bus. That's Sunday. It's going to start at 8:30 at the Walmart in Eastgate. We'll be there for an hour and a half or two. And then, we're going to buy some toys, be there for people to come and give us toys to fill the Bengal bus. And then we're going to transition over to the Pro Shop, where we'll be there for another hour and a half or so. We'll go into Pro Shop and buy some Bengal gear because, all the kids need to have some Bengal gear as well. So please come out and see us, take some pictures with us, bring some toys, whatever you can do to help support the effort. This past Saturday, we had a great turnout, even with the cold. I was really surprised, but we ended up having Keith Rucker there, former player, and we were supporting his foundation, which is the Reach for the Sky. And basically he helps with a summer camp for football, which is completely free. And the money that we helped earn this past weekend's going to that. And it was, like $2,200, almost $2,300 that's going to go to that foundation. So again, can't say enough how Houday Nation, Bengal Nation, the fans support our efforts in making this happen. And like Jamie showed, we're 111K, 28 different charities. It's amazing. So proud to be a part of this group. We all have a hand in this effort, and it's just a great feeling to be able to help the community like we do.
And one thing I want to give a shout out to that was tied in to the charity all weekend was our friends at the Blue Crew. I believe was popped up there, the cool plaques that our buddy Ron Boyle made for our cornhole champions. That was the first time we did that. Again, another charity event that coincided with Keith Rucker's charity this week. That was a lot of fun. Although Brandon, our number one fan, protested the blue bags that he was forced to play with. Gosh, we're never going to hear the end of that. But no, it was a lot of fun. That Colt fans, Bengals fans, again, with 100% of the proceeds going to charity. Our friends at Bengal Bids donated signed jerseys. As we mentioned, Ron Boyle donated those cool plaques, and just appreciate everyone being part of it. There's a lot of buzz about it, and it's probably something you'll see again at a future tailgate. So again, thanks to the Blue Crew for pitching in, their fans being great. And it was a fun day down there in at Paycor. And what was it, Tony? We had a T. Higgins autographed helmet, Keith Rucker jersey, T. Higgins jersey, and a Hickey jersey.
That's correct.
4 or 5 items. Yeah.
Yep.
So lots of great prizes, and we appreciate everybody that pitches in to one defunct bag.
James did that on purpose, Brandon.
Oh gosh. And then we try to have a playoff between the two teams that had to play with the bad bags and the other team.
Hey
just
guys,
scared of Brandon.
with everything you're doing this weekend and the toy drive and everything, question mainly for Jimmy and James. Is it Orange Christmas Tree Day Saturday?
Yep,
Yes.
the 31st year of the Orange Christmas tree. So let's talk about that just for a second.
Well, are you going to get a real tree or another Charlie Brown tree?
Is this
We
the
always
beer,
get
is this the beer
always-
can tree?
Yep. It's always a real tree. It's spray painted with 4 cans of orange fluorescent paint the night before. And when you empty your beer cans, you empty that beer can, you put that on the beer can as an ornament. So the 31st year of the Orange Christmas Tree game, 50 plus degrees, guys, this Saturday, not Sunday. James, what else are we doing at the tailgate? We got the charity stuff going on as always.
No, we talked about wearing your favorite Christmas or holiday outfit. So if you want to come down dressed as Santa, Mrs. Claus, Mrs. Naughty Claus, an elf, whatever you want to do, come on.
Mrs. and Mrs. Naughty Claus. Can I just I want to put a comment up that just came in. I'm not doing this to boast about our egos here, but Bob says, you gentlemen are the absolute best, class acts, proud to work the same team as you guys. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you for asking Ken my question. That's one thing I want to talk about really quickly. We do the show.
We're not gentlemen. Why would he say that?
Well, obviously, James must have been off camera when he wrote it. But what I was going to say was, the 5 of us on the screen, I know we're missing Mark tonight. We sometimes maybe take it for granted that we get to talk to these guys and see that. But when the fans do watch the show and we are able to ask a question, like, these are people who watch these players for years, right? Don't have that connection, and they'll be able to put their question up on the screen. That's why, when you see Ken on the show more than once, 3, 4, 5 times, we love bringing these guys back because it gives you guys, by the fans, for the fans, a chance to ask questions. So thanks for that message, Bob. I appreciate that. That was very nice. And obviously,
going,
was on the screen when you wrote that. So.
Can I go back to the Naughty Mrs. Claus outfit for the tailgate?
Please don't.
That's a great segue after
It's a PG-13 tailgate too, damn it.
It's not 9 o'clock. Even when I went on my I waited till 9 o'clock.
It is not a PG. I've been there when the mayor said the F word, and I've been there when you swore, and I've heard James say a few things after a few day drinking beers too. So
the only thing I did was I think Mark said Nostradamus wasn't even that good. When I called the Chase Brown first NFL touchdown and the Joe Mixon touchdown as part of a joke.
It's a person I've who's never misbehaved at a tailgate ever has been Tony. I've never seen him misbehave at all.
Because I'm proper. I got the etiquette for the tailgate.
He's also got his wife with him. So.
Well, she misbehaves, but that's fine.
Jeez. So again, at the tailgate, it could be ugly Christmas sweater. It could be dressing up at any Christmas, whatever you guys want to do. But we're gonna take one massive group picture. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Orange Christmas tree. We're gonna do some other fun stuff as well. I think Craig, Beer Fest Craig is coming up with some ideas with some stuff. I'm not sure what else he's going to do. James, did he tell you what kind of drinks? Hot toddies or something like that again, maybe?
I'm sure those are popular and usually sell out pretty quick, in addition to the Bengal bomb. So I think Craig's going to do an extra 10 rounds of Bengal bombs. And he took Zach Taylor's orders to heart and wants to make sure everybody's nice and primed before they go into to Paycor on Saturday afternoon. Now, this was posted earlier today, and Brandon's comments coincides with this if you want to pop it up. But we're wearing black jerseys, black socks, black pants. So all black. We know how successful the stripe out was. So worst case scenario, if we can't get all the fans to wear black, let's get 156 and 158 in all black. And I think it'd be perfect. The Bengals fans have killed the white out when we asked them to wear white. They killed the stripe out. Now we need the blackout Saturday. Maybe it's a little bit late, but heck, with the social media presence nowadays, we can probably put a pretty good dent in it and get most people to wear black on Saturday.
So this is
I'm hoping for Craig's sake he doesn't show up in a white jersey. You guys,
yeah, he's going to. He's going to stick out like a sore thumb in section
you guys
158.
are going to get punched in the mouth.
That has been worn out. Leave the man alone. The man has had enough.
I'm not picking on him. I'm just saying. I hope for his sake he doesn't. You guys are going to get punched.
Wait. Tom brings up this is my one chance to mention Syracuse here on the show. Tommy DeVito, the former Syracuse quarterback who led his team to the drive. And I believe, let's take this off the screen, and it says, not your Tommy DeVito's agent, your uncle, Jamie?
Yes, sir. That guy's the coolest, man. Did you see the man?
That was
About him? It was hilarious. Absolutely.
No, I never watched the Manning thing, and then last night was so confusing with the two games on. Thankfully, YouTube TV allows you to do the picture-in-picture, but
I just
crazy.
watched the clip after. It's great to watch the clips. I don't think I can watch a whole NFL game with the Manning brothers talking over it, but the clips when they have like some gold. Craig
awesome.
also commented bourbon, vanilla, maple hot toddies, and 1,000 Bengal bombs if the fans should have drank them.
Shit, he knows the fans will show up. But also, speaking of that blackout, it's literally Coach Taylor's going to get us blacked out drinking too much going in that stadium, and it's going to be a blackout in the stadium. So we're going to have a lot of fun.
This is Craig's defense. He was honoring AJ Green in his non-white jersey.
I'm not picking on Craig. I'm saying for your sake, because I know if he doesn't, you guys are going to razz him. He's going to punch you out.
You know, he's yelling at us in his message right there.
I love Craig. I'd never diss Craig.
Man.
Canadian maple syrup down once for the tailgate. We did like maple syrup drinks the one time.
So Tom, let's talk about this game Saturday, man. So magic numbers 3. Minnesota set football back 20 years of that game last week, a 3-0 game this past week. I didn't want to go back and watch that thing, but let's talk about that Minnesota game, Tom. What do we got to do to get this dub this week?
You mentioned that though last week for them. That was not – I was home kind of flipping around and watching the NFL channel after we got home from the Bengals game. That was actually not a horrible game. Just every offense, every time they'd get inside the 40 would just stop somehow ineptly. But it was not a horrible game. The Vikings clearly have a hole at quarterback. They are going to their third-string quarterback now. James and I touched on that earlier today a little bit, talking to each other. I know James is concerned with their new quarterback, but so hopefully we've got to keep ramping it up on defense. They are good defensively. Heck, they're 7-6, just like us. They want to make it into the playoffs, so they feel like they're back into a quarter. But I think here it is. If we play the way we did against Jacksonville and we play the way we did against Indianapolis, they're going to be fine. And, we don't worry about any games past them. We just worry about that one. But they're going to be fine, and they're going to keep climbing up that ladder to get into the playoffs, which right now they're out of.
Isn't it funny to see how quickly fans fall out of love with someone? Like, remember when Josh Dobbs stepped in for the injured Kirk Cousins, had no idea, hadn't even seen the playbook yet, goes out and running for his life, somehow wins the game, and the Vikings fans are like crowning this guy as the savior of the franchise, and then now he's been benched for Nick Mullins. Like, it's hilarious how things can change in this league so quickly.
So
quick.
we got our man Mon. So congratulations! I think he just had his 100th show last week or the week before. He says the Vikings have a great D. I think is McConnell. Is that the head coach? Who's their head coach? Kevin Connell, right?
Yeah, they built it on D. They do have an elite D, but like I said, if the Bengals play, Jacksonville had a great D. Indianapolis has got a great D. The Bengals play the way they have the last 2 weeks, I think they're going to be fine, on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of my cliches.
No, we're not. We're not. We were talking about something else.
I am not producing this show. I'm letting the people out there know that I am not the producer of this show.
We have been a ship adrift tonight since James brought up naughty Mrs. Claus.
Hey, so let's transition
And
here. It's time.
Here's a valid question here, and that was one thing Tom and I were going back and forth. Apparently took a pretty strong hit to the chest last Sunday. They took him to the hospital. Precautionary measures. I think everything checked out, but that's it's probably something they're going to keep under wraps, much like we saw last week about is Trevor Lawrence playing? Is he not playing? Obviously, he ended up playing. I think if he's healthy, with them in the situation that they are, obviously he's going to make that team better. But we'll see. If he's 100%.
Can I say something really quickly about that? So I honestly think the reason Dobbs is not playing is because of that injury. Did you see the hit?
No, I didn't. No.
100% on Dobbs. 100%. Ball placement, put him in a position where he has to go up and catch that ball and just get murdered. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, Jimmy, you'll remember
Derek Carr in New Orleans. You got the players who are injured tweeting and then deleting their tweets about how he's going to get these players killed by where he's putting the ball. Right?
Jimmy, remember in the 1980s, though, particularly his first couple years as starter, what Boomer used to do to Chris Collinsworth and Rodney Holman? He would throw it high. We'd have our tall guys spread. I mean, Collinsworth would get the tar kicked out of him every week, and he wasn't the biggest guy in the world anyway, the thickest guy in the world. I mean, he was athletic. He's 6'5", jumping up. He'd go get the ball, but his body would be so extended, he would just get destroyed. And that reminds me a lot of Jefferson. But, we'll see. My guess is that he plays. Everybody always gets better.
He's going to play. There's no way he's not playing against Jamar. So
there's a good comment from Mon. I think there's two things. If you look at the last two games, we saw the emergence of Chase Brown, who played a heck of a game Monday night, played a heck of a game Sunday. And I think, we debated this on the show. It goes back to that Pittsburgh game where we had 8 rushing attempts for a running back, taking some pressure off the young quarterback that doesn't have the experience. I think it takes some pressure off that line. So in order for continued success, Mon has a good point. We're going to have to keep running the ball and relying on Joe and Chase Brown to stay successful there.
I'll tell you what, man, it's kind of like, the conversation we had a few weeks ago, I keep going back to Solomon Wilcox. I think you did earlier too, James. Solomon says the Bengals are going to have to play. They can't get down real big because when those defenders pin their ears back and that's all they're doing is rushing, Jake, it's going to make it miserable on him. Let's run the ball. Let's stay close. Let's get out in front early and make life easier where everything kind of works on the offense. So it's that time, guys. It is time for Tom's. What are we calling it, Tom? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure we got it right.
Hole of the week.
Asshole of the week.
Thank you, Jamie.
Right.
No problem.
It's my new favorite segment, Tom.
Presented by StolenClipArt.com.
Well, this week, we do have one we've been waiting to use, but we'll use that when maybe one doesn't present himself. But one presented itself very clearly last Saturday when the NFL came out and not just cleared the Bengals, but made it very clear that the Bengals did absolutely nothing wrong in regards to the reporting of Joe Burrow's injury. Mm-hmm. And they were on that quick. The day after the injury, they were in here. They looked at every minute of every practice the week of the Ravens game. They looked at every moment of film that they had of Joe throwing the ball before the game.
That's all you had to watch. That's all you had to watch was that.
Well, here was the thing for me, though. He threw a 60-yard pass. It was an incompletion, but a 60-yard throw, perfect spiral to Jamar Chase right before he got injured. But anyway, everybody was screaming bloody murder, starting with, the city there in Maryland and a lot of our friends up north by Lake Erie and even a sprinkling of Western Pennsylvania. And it proved to us what we already knew. You're all assholes. So
who's the official asshole recipient?
Now it's official, and if you can divide up the trophy amongst you, there won't be much left because there's so many of you. But the Bengals did nothing wrong. There was no conspiracy, so calm down. And for those of you that were upset about your bet in Vegas, he got hurt during the game.
So wait a minute. So you're literally giving an asshole of the week award to tens and thousands of people across the country?
Anybody,
Exactly.
anybody who pushed the narrative that the Bengals did something wrong.
Holy shit.
Anybody that said the Bengals had done something wrong, there was some massive conspiracy.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to share in that trophy.
So
And they deserve it.
This isn't the asshole. This is the assholes of the week.
Listen, don't forget to tune in next week when we award it to an entire country.
Is this the runner-up award for the award this week?
It's funny, he's being the darling of the league. It's a PR thing for Mahomes right now.
I really wanted to ask Kenny that, but we had him a little too long. So.
Well,
you have one supporter.
Go ahead, James.
You have one supporter. This is Jordan from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Says, "Go get him, Tom." I think that's your nephew, isn't it?
Sheboygan, very big in Sheboygan. Yes, very big in Sheboygan.
Just kidding, Jordan.
So, but the thing about the Mahomes and Andy Reid complaint, where their wide receiver lined up off sides and didn't check with the ref before the play to see if he was in the neutral zone. He broke the rule. He was very clearly in the neutral zone. What if that gave him just a couple of inches advantage on the pass route to get to that pass? So, the call's correct. Nobody is harder on the refs than me. Nobody bitches about the NFL officiating and how horrible it is than me. They got it right. They got it right.
I'm no conspiracy theorist. But when you put Brittany Mahomes, Jackson Mahomes, and Taylor Swift together in a triangle, nothing's good's going to come out of that. I think it's downhill.
Andy Reid and Mahomes need to understand. Even Jake from State Farm would have called that a penalty.
Yeah, 100%.
This is a 2-minute warning.
When is he going to be a guest?
Yeah,
we can make that. We can make that happen.
Nice. But yeah, we can make that happen.
Every answer he has to do that though. He has to wave the towel like that.
every third question.
Tony, get us started, please.
Jamie.
Well, just 1 week at a time, like everyone's been talking about. Looking forward to Minnesota game. Bring your toys to the tailgate. Hopefully, we'll see you Sunday. This week's charity is Maddie's House. So if you guys know about that charity, it's one of our favorites. So make sure you come out and support them. And I also just want to put a plug in for Tony's Tickets for Kids. I had 31. So I was able to do 31 kids so far this year, getting them to their first NFL game. And I got 4 more coming this week. So we'll be at 35. So it's an awesome feeling to be able to get them kids to their game because they're the future fans. But other than that, who day?
I would like to spend my time discussing my thoughts and views on censorship and how it applies to our show. But honestly, after Joe Burrow going down and landing an egg against the Steelers, I'll admit, like most Bengals fans, thought the season was over. Wasn't as excited about the game the next week. Not because you don't love the team, but I don't want to hear from people. When we win, we like to talk. When we lose, it sucks to hear from other people. But I honestly do, and it's only been 2 wins, but Jake Browning just looks so calm out there. And I feel like the team's just playing a little bit looser, open up the playbook, running the ball more. Chase Brown looks absolutely as advertised. I'm excited to watch Bengals. I'm excited about what's going to happen. I look at the schedule going forward, and I see a run. I see a potential run. And I think we talked about this a few weeks when I was on. 10 double digits probably gets you in. And I think we get to double digits. I think we sneak in, and then it's a whole new season after that. So, Houday, I hope it goes good. I wish the game was on Sunday. I'd like to come down for it, but yeah, I'm going to come down for the playoffs. It'll be fun.
As long as you have your snow tires on the smart car.
I put snow tires in the smart car. I will let you know how it goes.
Okay. Tom, are you going to hand the football to Tom, or is that not?
I'm at my office. I don't. I can hand you a Jack and Coke if you want.
That's all right. I'm broadcasting.
Yes, I have Jack and Coke in the office. Just let you know.
I don't drink it. I don't drink, period. But I certainly don't drink in broadcast. So, no, I think
I'm sorry.
The one game at a time mantra certainly fits. And I know it's boring, but a lot of other things won't matter near as much if we don't beat the Vikings. And I think they'll be up for it. The coaching staff seems to really be in stride. We've got a fantastic story at quarterback that is going to do all kinds of things for us, not just this year, but into the future in a variety of ways. But we'll talk about that in the off season. So be there, be early, be really loud, and help the guys out because they still need it and they appreciate it. So this is a very special group of guys that have overcome a lot. So let's do our part for them. James?
All righty, blackout. We officially voted here. We have a quorum, so it's a blackout on Saturday, except for Craig. He's allowed to wear what color, Jamie?
Don't get me in shit.
But thankful for you, the fans. All the comments. You guys had wonderful questions for Ken Anderson today. I see some new faces. We mentioned Jordan. That is not Tom's long-lost nephew from Sheboygan. That is a new viewer. So thank you, Jordan, for tuning in. As we said, Mon on his 100th show. Congratulations. Craig's out there. And speaking of Craig, we appreciate all he does. So much legwork there for Jacksonville. He promises us to have the Bengal bombs lined up for Saturday. So look forward to that. And then along those lines, Craig and Dell also post the volunteer list. Oh, see, man, I'm a mind reader. See, Jordan is in Wisconsin.
No.
You're from Sheboygan. If you're from Wisconsin, you're from Sheboygan, Jordan. Executive decision. But no, people are always asking how to help, how to get involved. There is a volunteer list that's circulated out there. So whether it's set up, whether it's tear down, whether it's actually helping during the tailgate, we can use all the help we can get. So we appreciate that. And I mentioned it during Tony's section, but thanks again to
your time.
To what?
You're over your time.
Okay, just one last shout out to Ron Boyle for all he does, making the cool lanyards, made the plaques for the cornhole tournament, and we appreciate that. Jimmy, you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds to
that. Guys, just real quick, 111,000, 28 different charities. We as a group thank you guys so much for everything you're doing to support those charities, and how much it means to all these charities, these local charities, is a really big deal. So I appreciate you guys being part of that. And I think Tony hit it earlier. It takes all of us equally to pull this, to get things together on this charity effort that we're doing. We appreciate everybody that's involved. 50 degrees. I think I saw 53 degrees Saturday. So usually I can't go out Sunday night after the game and have drinks with everybody because I got to work. But Saturday night when the Bengals win, I am going out. We're going out bar hopping afterwards, guys. But 7-6, guys, 7-6. And I think Coach Taylor said it right. I think the crowd was great last game against the Colts, but we need it better. We need it even better than that, guys. So when we get into that stadium, grab an extra beer like Coach Taylor said, drink it on the way into the stadium. Just make sure they get it in the garbage can before you get into the stadium. And let's get loud. The storyline that keeps building week after week right now, you can see it. It's something special is building now, guys. And it takes not just the players and the coaches, but it's going to take us, every single one of us in that damn stadium, to help get this dub this week. It's going to be a tough game. Minnesota's defense really damn good. So let's bring it. Let's get to 8-6 this Saturday. We'll see you this weekend. See you at the tailgate bright and early. We love you guys. Hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day.
Hoo day. Naughty.